Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some Historic. It has recently had a suspension with Brainstorm, which should have been a ban, but we won't go into that rant, because we don't really need to. But we're going to be playing around with a new format, hopefully. Here's optimistic. Here's to being optimistic about it. We're going to be playing with Bard class. It's one that we played with Standard 2022, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed that deck. It's one of my favorites in the format, and we're going to try it now in Historic, where it has a lot more Gruul legends to play around with. So, for those who don't know, Bard class is the new build around from the Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. It's a Gruul 2-mana enchantment class. Says on its level 1, legendary creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them. The thing you mostly want to do with this card is level it up to level 2. The red and green says legendary spells you cast cost 1 red and 1 green less to cast, but it only affects the amount of coloured mana you pay. And then, if you're lucky enough, which is pretty easy to do, you can get up to level 3. A 5 mana. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, you exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you may play them this turn. So let's talk about it, shall we? Bard class, you really want to get down on turn 2 if you can, because on turn 3, you get to level it up, and any exclusively Gruul cards, like Targnar and Galia, become free. Everything else, in the case of Magda and Karizev, become 1 generic mana to play, which means on turn 3, you go Bard class, level it up, land drop. You've got the level up mana plus the 1 mana to play around with there as well, so you can still play your Magda and your Karizev. All of these will actually enter with the additional +1/+1 counter on them. Karizev, interestingly enough, also makes a Ragavan token whenever she attacks, and Ragavan will be a 3/2 when it attacks, which is pretty sweet. We also then have, in our 3-drop slot, a lot of other 1 mana cards. Our entire deck becomes 1 mana once you level up the Bard class, except for Grand Warlord Rada, essentially, who helps you enable the level 3, but we'll get to that in just a second. But yes, our other 1 mana creatures are Rada, Heart of Keld, a 3/3 with first strike as long as it's our turn, so really good attacker, and most likely going to be a 4/4 first striking attacker. Allows us to look at the top card of our library at any time, and we can play lands off the top of our library, which means we can set up additional land drops, so we can play our spells multiple times per turn, especially in the case of like Bard class, that's especially helpful. We've got Clothis, God of Destiny, a 1 mana 4/5 indestructible enchantment creature that isn't a creature as long as our devotion to red and green is less than 7, which is really easy because we've got lots of Gruul colors in here, so each of these counts for 2 devotion pips. So in this deck, it's treated as basically as though it was one of the 1 mana or 1 colored gods, which drop their color requirements of devotion down to 5, I think it is, something like that. But 7s take advantage of the fact that we can use 2 colors here, so it makes it easier for this to be a creature. It's extremely easy in this deck to make it a creature, which is cool. Grumgully is a really good one for us here as well. We can get this out as early as turn 2 with our turn 1 Llanowar Elves, and it means that other non-human creatures enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. The only thing this doesn't target is going to be Karizev Skyship Raider, who is a human pirate. However, when Karizev attacks, makes a monkey, and that does get triggered off of the Grumgully, so it's really useful there. So that's why Karizev is a 2-of in this list, because it's a little less synergistic than the rest of the deck, but still a really nice, aggressive line for us to take. Domri Anarch Bolus also gives us a lot of good advantage. It's pretty much our only form of interaction in the deck. I guess it is our only form of interaction in the deck, really. The -2 allows us to get a creature to fight another creature that we don't control, so our big pumped-up creatures with Bard class can take care of something. Primarily what it's here for is the passive and the tick-up, though. Creatures you control get +1/+0 as long as Domri's on the field, so a nice little pump spell there. And the +1 gives us red or green mana, and also creatures can't be countered, so really useful in a control matchup as well. Although I think the control matchup in general is going to be really rough for us because they have access to Lightning Helixes and Wrath of Gods. It's probably going to be an unwinnable matchup, but Domri's here anyway because you can play him on turn 2 and he's pretty solid in that regard. Because you can actually go turn 1 Llanowars, turn 2 Domri, tick up, play Mox Amber, play a 2-drop. So you can play a bard class, something like that. It's really solid. Finally, Grand Warlord Rada, 4 mana 3/4 with haste. Never thought I would actually play this card in Historic ever again, but here we are. An elf warrior that says whenever 1 or more creatures you control attack, add that much mana in any combination of red or green, and until the end of the turn, you don't lose mana as steps and phases end. Which means we can use the mana that Grand Warlord Rada generates in our second main phase to play future creatures, or we could use it to level up Bard class as well. There's no restrictions on how you could use this mana, so we could use it to level up Bard class, or we could even use it to put Gigantha into our hand, which is a free companion for this deck. There's really no reason not to run Gigantha. You could, realistically, if you really wanted to, take away the companion for Anax. Anax is an alright one. A 3 mana X3, or star 3, which power is equal to the devotion to red. It's not terrible, but I think that the upside of having an 8th card in your opening hand that is easy to put into your hand is well worth the upside there. It also means we can't run a Seeker, but again, a Seeker's kind of really slow, and that's not really what we want to be doing. We want to be winning as early as possible with this deck, so that's that. As we said, we got the early game ramp here. We even have Mox Amber, which adds mana based off of the legendary creatures or planeswalkers we control. So the only time this doesn't really work is if we have only Llanowar Elves Bard class in play, or we have a Klothys that isn't animated, because Klothys is not a creature as long as your devotion is less than 7, so doesn't trigger the Mox Amber there, but really nice, allows us to go for an early game start. We have 22 lands. At one point during the game, I had 23 lands and 3 Mox Ambers. I've swapped that around, and since then had a lot of success with the mana base here, so you will see me running a little less of lands and a little less of Mox Amber and a little more of lands. It was a mistake, and I've learned from it, and since benefited, which is nice. But yeah, that's essentially the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's continue. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, on the draw, but we have a really nice hand here. We've got Bard class into upgrade Bard class plus Grumgully Targalia. So short of our opponent thought seizing us, we're nice and early. This is going to be pretty great for us. Never nice to be on the draw though, this deck cannot stand it at all. Alright, we have dodged first turn Thoughtseize. Have we dodged second turn Thoughtseize? Opponent on Zagoth Triumph with Gigantha. This looks like a meme color combo here. Well, we too are playing a meme, so let's go Bard class. Expressive Iteration. So yeah, I mean, short of our opponent having a really nice board wipe here, we've got a nice turn ahead of us. They are going to go and Inquisition us, so they can get rid of the Grumgully or the Domri here. Grumgully is the one I kind of want to keep, but it depends on what our opponent's playing around with. I think they're officially at this point playing Niv Mizzet, which is very bad in terms of being removal tribal. Many options. Do you want to take the free card, or do you want to take the enablers, or do you want to take the follow-up? Gonna go with the Grumgully. I would agree with their assessment that that is the best card. So now we get to go Domri, Anak of Bolas. Ticking up for no particular reason other than to get the loyalty going. Let's play a Targ. Let's play a Galia. And swing. We do play into Deafening Clarion here, but we don't really have a choice otherwise. Binding of the Old Gods. Gonna go after Gallia. Fair enough. We drew a land. I'm gonna cut a land at this rate. They are kind of driving me insane. So let's tick up. Go reds. Play Grand Warlord Rada. Which then allows me to swing in for a nice amount of damage here. Putting our opponent to 1. And I think we're going to level up the Bard class. It means if we play any kind of non-hasting creature after our opponent wipes the board, we have a chance to hit another haste creature. Like another Rada or a Gallia. So I think that's the line we want to take. Inquisitions. It's nothing. We are sweeper proof, and it looks like we've taken the game. We whiffed. I'm going to cut a land. It's driving me insane. I've flooded in nearly every game with a 23 land deck, so it's time for that to stop. Alright, on to the next game. Alright, we are in, and this hand looks pretty fantastic. We're going to keep this one. So let's go Stomping Ground tapped and pass the turn. Opponent knows we've got a 0 drop in our hand if they've been paying attention. Miscloaked Herald. Okay. An interesting card for sure. So if we get to keep the Bard class down, we're going to be playing Merfolk, alright. So it could have either been Merfolk or it would have been like a mono blue tempo that's running a Miscloaked Herald instead. I think back in the day it used to run that. We're going to definitely just level up the Bard class here and figure out which direction we want to go. I think we can just about empty our entire hand, right? If I play this on green, then I play this. We can't quite get there, I don't think. Oh no, we play the Domri, who enables the Mox Amber, who can tick up, and I think we go for the Bard class here over the Karizev, because that is going to make this a 5/4. And then Karizev to follow up with is also quite nice. Domri doesn't get to live forever, because Miscloaked Herald is unblockable. Deep-Root Waters, okay. But, you know, we're still in a really aggressive position here, and I absolutely love where we're at. Alright, so I don't think upgrading Bard class really does anything, other than the fact that our opponent could have bounce magic that would deal with it. But I think that's really the only reason I'd want to do that. We could upgrade the level 2 to a level 3 so that we can go off. That requires a little bit of setup, allows us to get in for 5. Oh, we could just go with the Rada. Yeah, if we went with the Rada here, that's a 6/6 with haste, and then we swing in for all of this. We get the 2 that doesn't leave our mana pool, and we can use that to level up the Bard class. Yeah, this seems pretty great. We can double the Targ's power, but that's not really going to matter here. I think we are going to level 3 this. So the next turn, Karizev can reveal cards off the top of our library. Miscloaked Herald is nowhere near killing the Domri at the moment, though double Lord effect could certainly get us there. Let's see if they can produce enough blockers with the Deep-Root Waters. That's going to be the biggest factor here. And one good reason why the level 3 Bard class is the correct move, because that allows us to go wide as well. So it looks like Domri is going to go and bite the dust here. We draw a land. That could be good. That could be terrible. We'll have to find out. Karizev exiles the top 2. Gets us a 1-mana Rada Heart of Keld. gets us a Grand Warlord Rada, Stomping Ground off the top. Not quite where we want it to be. If we float this, play this. Got a Grumgully. Keep this. Play Grumgully. Should probably play the land off the top, actually. That might be a huge error on my part. We got a Rada. Let's go with a Domri here. It's like we've hit the end of our line, unless we want to keep going with re-hits on Rada. I kind of like the idea of doing that. Unless we want to fight the Mistcloaked Herald or the Deep-Root Elite. Well, I think what I'll do is I'll play this Rada. Yeah, because we get a free Gallia here. Oh, we're doing it, chat. Beginning to believe. Go with a Targ. Keep the old Targ, because it can attack this turn. And play the Bard class, I think. And that will be our turn. We get to swing. Gaining some mana here. Discarding the land to redraw. There's a Grumgully on top. Yeah, that sounds fine. Opponent's got some 1/1s to block. And I'm thinking we're in a really good spot. We can start the chain all over again with the 1-mana Grumgully on top of our deck. And we've got +3/+3 counters on all of our creatures in the follow-up here. With Karizev making a Ragavan that also gets the 3 counters. Opponent has tuned out. Their Merfolk deck that hasn't been relevant in a long time is apparently getting stomped and they're unhappy with it. I've heard Merfolk has actually done quite well in recent memory, but I think it gets dismissed a lot of the time because I think it only ever actually presented good results once in a tournament. And only recently has the deck just popped up out of nowhere and gone back to obscurity once again. Yeah, our opponent left when I drew a million cards. How many cards have I gone through? I've gone through half my deck. Okay. And it's my turn 4? Is that right? Half my deck on turn 4 is pretty good. Well, it looks like we're going to win because our opponent has tuned out. This is a board state. I've got to say, it is a board state. There we go. Opponent choosing not to try and win the game, instead conceding to the greatness that is this board state. It's pretty great. Sweet. On to the next one. Alrighty, we're in, and a little bit of a slow hand, but a pretty good hand all the same. We've got Bard class on 2, and then on 3 we've got free Gallia, free Targ. We get to swing in with the Gallia. We've got a 2-mana Grand Warlord at that point as well. So it's off to a weird start, but I think any hand that has Bard class that's castable and free cards in it seems pretty good to me. Now, getting Thought Seized is gonna suck, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Here we go. We are up against Lurrus, a notorious Thought Seized deck, but blue is our opponent's leading card, leading land. Ouch. Opponent is playing Spell Pierce, and it's Auras. Alright, do we beat Auras? That's the question. I don't know if we do. We can go Grand Warlord, we can play Rada into Grand Warlord Rada here, which gives us the ability to hopefully do something, but yeah, I think think we might actually just be dead. Spell Pierce might be all it takes. In fact, to be honest, this looks to be a bad matchup. The moment they get a creature with lifelink, it seems a little bit difficult to win the game. We did get another Bard class. We actually get to play a land off the top here as well. Realistically, are we going to win this game? It's hard to say. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Bard class. We're going to give it our best shot, but I think one or two more equips from the Saram and this game's over anyway. We've got a Galia, we've got a Targ. Like, our attacking force isn't bad if our opponent didn't have a 15/15 life-linking flyer that draws them cards on this turn, you know? Up to 5/5 with Vigilance, so now it blocks all my things and gains life on the block as well as the attack, so yeah. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Can't realistically attack into that. And it has first strike. Alright, so they actually really win. Yeah, alright, let's go to the next game. Alrighty, opponent goes first. We have a Llanowar Elves on turn 1 into Grumgully turn 2. With a Mox Amber as well to accelerate our mana a little bit here. I kind of like this hand a fair bit. Our opponent's going to be on Elves, I guess? It would appear that way. So this Llanowar Elves is likely to survive. I'm going to pass the turn here. Just spare a Sentinel. Hits us for 1, sure. Opponent looks to be very reliant on their early game mana dorks here. Not much we can do about it though, because we essentially do Goldfish the game. But we can go Galia Targ Gnar next turn. Dwinnen's Elite. Okay, so Rootbound Crag. We're gonna go Galia. Going to play Mox Amber. And I think we're playing Targ Gnar. Are we playing Kari Zev? Probably Kari Zev, actually. First Strike and Menace make it a lot easier to push through. And I think we will swing here. Might even get in with the Llanowar Elves. If they block the Dwinnen's Elite, then they're not double blocking Grumgully or Galia. Discard a card at random. 50-50 shot, this being really good. It was really good. Alright. So yeah, they're going to take 6 here, going down to 14. We traded off a Llanowar Elves that we no longer care about. We're at the top of our mana curve now anyway. And hopefully we get to do some crazy stuff on this following turn. We are going to need a good draw, so a Bard class would be okay. Clan Caller pumps the Elves. This is where it's going to start getting away from us, unfortunately. So let's go Mountain, Magda, Targ, Llanowar Elves. We're doing this because our opponent's likely to block the Grumgully if I attack with it. But I think we have to do that. So yeah, there goes Grumgully. Need to double block that. So I think that's going to be it for our opponent's attack steps. Trying to keep their elf count down nice and low is really important as well. And the fact that they're stuck on one forest here is really useful. It means they can't really afford to lose their sentinels, and they might be forced to do that next turn. There's a War Master. And they've still got a 1-mana option here with a Sentinel. Llanowar Elves. Alright, so that makes a 2-2 for them to block with. We've got the Bard class. It's a little late for it, but we don't really have better options right now. So we're going to get that done. We're going to level it up. And we're swinging in with the team here, I think. Maybe not even the correct line in terms of efficiency, but It's the one we're going with because I think we're forcing chump blocks and our opponent's going to lose here. I think this matchup's pretty 50-50. I think if they drew more lands, then they probably stabilize. But it's our job to take advantage of our opponent's misfortunes here. Try to profitably block as much as possible, but they are still going to be dead on board next turn. Actually, they're dead on board right now. So, I think if they block the most damage, they're still dead, right? Yeah, -1. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Must smork at all times. Attack, attack, attack. No block, no math. Nothing like that is required here. We don't do that. It's not the kind of channel that we are. On to the next game. Alright, we're in, and this hand is completely unplayable, so we're going to throw it back. We've got a 6-card hand, basically, with our legends, and we've not got any green mana for Llanowar Elves. If I had green mana here, I would probably keep it, though. But, yeah, it's just completely not redeemable there. This one's fine. It's a bit slow on the draw. Maybe we go down to 5. I mean, what matchups is this hand good against? Yeah, I'm going to hit the mull on that one, and this one's much better. Alright, so let's get rid of a Rootbound Craig, and let's get rid of... I'm going to say Mox Amber. Got turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Gruul Gully, turn 3 Garlia maybe, plus Carry Zev in this case. So I like it. We got a follow-up in case Llanowar Elves dies, which no doubt it will, to Fatal Push or Bloodchief's Thirst here. And then we would need another land. We did bottom a Mox Amber and a Rootbound Craig. So our mana sources are a little light. Yeah, certainly dead. Bone Crusher Giant, I missed you. Let's go with... More aggressive line or slower build-up kind of line? Gruul Gully is going to be my follow-up, I think. Let's go with this. We can get the Ragavan counter to get a token as well, so that's kind of nice. And this survives at least a stomp. But it's also got a Bloodchief's Thirst. Okay, Domri could be good right now. In case they're running counter magic, it might be a decent follow-up. And then we've got, if we draw a land, which is our worst draw, but also kind of okay, we've got Gruul Gully into Garlia then. And it's all uncounterable. So, pass the turn. Yeah, really not great for us. Our opponent, being the control deck, is certainly going to survive this one, I think. Inquisition. Which one do you want to take? I'm going to go for the Gruul Gully. Fair enough. We have lots of 2-drop options, so... Drew a land. Okay, Garlia back to block. Put Gigantha into our hand. And being Grixis has the removal for Garlia. Yep. Extremely efficient removal there with the Prismari command. And I mean, we're stuck on top decks now. We do at least... Never mind. I'll shut up now. Magda comes down, who can block the Bone Crusher Giant, assuming that they haven't drawn removal in their removal tribal deck. If they have removal, this game is completely over. Otherwise, there's a little bit of hope. This game is completely over. Alright, I mean, we're essentially both on top deck, so let's At least try it out, I suppose. We've got all the mana we need to cast everything in our deck. It's just whether or not it's good. So if we could get like a Bard class, upgrade it, and then next turn if we drew a land we could upgrade it again, and from there we could probably go crazy. Targ, nah, sure. Just play it out. It can trade with a Bone Crusher Giant if they don't draw removal here, which I think I've beaten that drum enough to know that their entire deck is removal. So land drop. Nicholas Biolus. Nothing to lose on the Nicky B. Alright, well, we can play Rada. Another Targ, so we're not drawing cards next turn. We'll scoop to that. Alrighty, we're on the play. This hand looks sweet. We're going to keep this one. Got a turn to Magda with a Mox Amber to get us down to Rada, hopefully. Plains and Soul Warden. That could be sketchy for us, for sure. Excuse me. We get to go Magda, gain 1 life, pass the turn. Yeah, we've got Rada, who can attack in with the Magda, leave us with 2 mana left over to play Galia or something like that. Perhaps we even want to lead with Grumgully, so we get the counter, so we don't have our future Magdas trade off with Speak of the Heavens, which I imagine is going to be the line that happens here. So we're going to go Mox Amber, we're going to go Grumgully. They gain 1. And then we swing, gain the treasure, play the Galia. Let's see if they want to block. I feel like if I were them, I would consider at least the Speak trading off here, but if they can get to 27 with the cards that they have in hand, then it's certainly reasonable for them to not block there as well. So we're going to play the Galia as a 3/3. Gains 1 up to 22. Best card they could play, in my eyes, is just a Righteous Valkyrie. Yep. So they're going to go up to 24. We've got a Targnar. Alright, well, Rada as a 4/5. Keep the card in hand that we would potentially want to discard to Galia here. It's swinging with the team. This looks to be perfectly fine. Oof. Ooh, Domri. That's pretty good. That means we can fight the Righteous Valkyrie if Rada doesn't get blocked. Opponent goes to 12, thinking that their Valkyrie is going to live. Oh, you sweet summer child. Take care of the Valkyrie. And looks like we're going to put Gigantha into our hand here. And we can certainly play that next turn. We don't really care about Domri going now. It is obviously a big power and toughness debuff. Oh, power debuff in this case, but yeah, our board state's good enough right now. We can push through everything here. So what's our best draw? I don't know, actually. I guess our best draw is essentially just anything that our opponent blocks and kills here. So let's hope that they get rid of the Grand Warlord Rada on the attack. We're certainly going for it. I'm going to force all... Oh, we got rid of Rada. Right, get rid of Grumgully now, please. Oh dear. I think I'm pretty consistent on discarding the 1 card that I didn't want to discard. Opponent goes to 5. We go with Grumgully to get a counter on it and have a blocker back. They go up to 6. They're going to go up to 7. We have a Gigantha and Stomping Ground tap. That's probably not correct, honestly, because of the Galia. We want the most amount of bad cards in our hands so we can discard them should we draw a good card next turn. But I'm sure we can probably just play whatever we draw. Alright, well, we've got nothing to lose on this attack, so let's send it. Discard, draw 2. Tagna. Okay. Let's see how they want to block. 1-3 on the 6-6. 2-4 on the 4-4. Fantastic, fantastic. All of this is great. Kind of surprised they didn't want to get rid of the Gallia, considering it's the main reason why I am winning the game right now. Let's play the Targ, which can double its power and block the Pride Mate at this rate. And yeah, again, we're going to keep the lands in hand for Gallia discards. Bishop of Wings is their top deck. Probably not going to be good enough. Can trade with the 6-6, although it's going to be a 7-7 now. So that's no longer the case, but they can't really afford to swing in with it. Okay. Rada, Heart of Keld. So let's play Rada, see if we can get a potential land off the top. We did. Opponent gets to pump their Pride Mates, which maybe is a reason for us to not do what we just did. But I think we should be in a pretty good spot here. Going to be drawing the Targ, which might be getting traded off here. We've got excess mana to double its power as well. So, good block for them. Bad block. Bad block. Keeps him alive. So, going to 1 here. Alright, well, I'm going to make sure that the Pride Mate token bites the dust. They get to keep their Soul Warden around, which means if I play my Targ, then they get a little bit of a respite. But, I mean, looking at this board, it's hard to see how they could really win. A Coco could maybe do some work, but I don't know if it could do enough work. And yeah, we're not really afraid of dying on the backswing, so we're not going to play Targ and let them gain 1 point of life, which might matter. So, best draw in their deck. Is it good enough? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, that gets them a lot of life. Yeah, up to 12. They're going to make an Angel, which gets them another 4. Again, can they really afford to attack for 12? I don't think they can, because I can afford to take it. You get the 4-4, that's going to gain them 5. I could see them stabilizing. They're at 17. It's a Bard class on top, which I can draw. Bard class, level up. It's maybe enough. Let's send it again. Triggers are fine. Discard a land, fantastic. Oh, double Bard class. Alright. There's some excess mana to work with. So, Targ and Rada are really important blocks for them. Taking 5, 10, 15, and they're dead. I get to pump around it. Sweet. Hidden text on Rada. Occasionally an I win the game option. There was certainly potential for them to stabilize there. I think they had to hit another Coco. But every Angel is gaining them 5 life with their board state. And every 5 life they get this Angel. They've got the Ajani to help them gain a lot of life as well. I think, though, with the Bard class, if I didn't pump there with the 5 mana I think I had, that would be 4 mana here, 1 remaining, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's level 3 Bard class, leaves me with 3 mana remaining. Then I go free Targ, 1 mana Karizev, 1 mana remaining, and then I guess it's going to really depend on what's on top. I think we even had a land drop to make, so we could influence the top of our library a little bit there as well. We were certainly going to go extremely wide, so I think we were probably going to get that regardless of their next top deck, even if it was their best draw. Pretty sweet. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and if you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It's been fun delving back into Historic with one of my favourite archetypes in recent memory. The Bard class is a strong card here as well, as it turns out. It has some weak matchups for sure. You just auto lose, I think, to auras if they get a lifelink creature going. But other than that, it's pretty reasonable. But yeah, take care guys, and have a wonderful evening.